China has reported a record high of new COVID-19 infections for the second day running. Nearly 33,000 were registered on Friday, the most in a day since the pandemic began. Nearly 2,000 of those cases were in the capital, Beijing, where most residents have been advised to stay home. The cities of Guangzhou and Chongqing had the highest number of cases. Restrictions have been imposed under China's zero-COVID policy, including lockdowns and mass testing.
By easing COVID restrictions, can people live a normal life? Otherwise, everything's halted. How many people have the savings to support them if things continue as they are? And even if you have the money to stay at home every day, that's not real living.
And Patrick Falk has more on this from Hong Kong.
A lot of official announcements that are being made about new curbs and new measures that are coming into play are being made after they've actually already been imposed in many cases. Officials seem to be going about communicating things in a much quieter way, either through WeChat groups or through local level communities. And there's a lot of reasons why that's happening. A part of it is to try and avoid any sort of alarm among people in China. So when you ask, what sort of impact it's having on people, been talking to people there saying there hasn't really been a sort of big shift overnight because they've all been aware that cases have been ticking higher in recent days. It's been gradually tightening day by day. But, we are hearing reports also of a bit of panic buying with people stocking up on groceries and a lot of delivery apps maxing out capacity as well. Everything is pointing towards a much more sort of prolonged exit out of a zero COVID strategy. And there had been a lot of discussion that China may move out of this around March when China's parliamentary sessions take place, but it does seem it's going to last longer than that, particularly because of people's perceptions about the virus. And that, of course, creates a lot of economic uncertainty going ahead. Brokerage Nomura has downgraded its forecast for Q4 GDP to 2.4% from 2.8% previously. But, a lot of this really depends on government policy at the end of the day.
Dr. Patrick Tang is from Sidra Medicine here in Qatar, and he explains why China has such strict lockdowns.
One of the main reasons why it's spreading is that the virus at this point in time is highly evolved. It's highly optimized to transmit within humans, and it is able to evade the immunity that we have developed from previous versions of the virus, as well as some of the older vaccines. So the population in China is somewhat under-vaccinated, and then the vaccines that were used were not as efficacious as the mRNA vaccines that had been used in the Western world. So their population is more susceptible, plus the virus is highly transmissible and highly capable of evading immunity. A lot of effort in China right now in developing similar vaccines, such as the mRNA vaccine. So they do have a Chinese-made mRNA vaccine. I believe it's being used in Indonesia right now, and it's still going through regulatory approval as well as production to ramp up production in China. So they are trying to catch up in terms of the vaccine technology. But the problem is that even if you look at the global scale, trying to catch up with the virus all the time as it evolves is a losing battle. There's no way that we can keep making vaccines to catch up with how the virus is mutating at its current rate. So we need to look for other strategies of looking for better vaccines that give us more stable protection against multiple types of variants.